Hi y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am here today with another monthly garden checklist for North Texas. This month, of course, will be for September. Before I get started, I do like to tell everybody what my sources are whenever I compile these lists. That way, you guys don't just think that I'm coming up with it out of nowhere. So the very first and probably most important source that I check everything against is going to be Lone Star Gardening by Neil Sperry. If you don't already own this book, go out and get it. Rush. Don't walk, run. This is an amazing source. And then the other source that I like to use is the Dallas Garden School's website. Her website has a monthly checklist, planting calendars, all kinds of useful information that is really great to reference whenever you're planting your own gardens, especially here in the North Texas area. And then my last source is going to be myseedtime.us account, which is basically an organizational tool that lets you compile your entire seed inventory, helps you figure out when to plant things, and it also has a layout feature that will help you figure out where to plant things. So the planting calendar within there is pretty accurate. I have had to manually adjust some things in there, but for the most part, it's pretty good. It aligns pretty closely with Dallas Garden School's website. All right, so now that the sources are out of the way, some of the shopping tasks that you're going to want to take care of this month include sourcing your seed garlic. I purchased mine in August because I wanted to make sure I could get the varieties that I wanted. If you are planning on growing any hard neck varieties, you'll need to go ahead and get it as soon as possible so you can get it into your refrigerator so that it can go through the cold stratification period. Also, if you are going to be planting any spring flowering bulbs like tulips, daffodils, hyacinths, Dutch iris, etc., so on and so forth, go ahead and get those bulbs now because you're going to need to get them in the ground. Most of them will go in the ground in October. Tulips will go in the ground in December. Then if you plan on growing any onions by seed, go ahead and get those seeds now. And then lastly, the thing that you want to make sure you always have on hand is any sort of soil amendments and fertilizers. All right, so September is a huge planting month here in North Texas. Temperatures are starting to cool down. It's a little bit more comfortable to be outside. Not today, it is incredibly humid because of all the rain that we've had. But otherwise, it is more comfortable to be outside. Not quite perfect yet, but much better than July and August. So if you want to do any sort of planting, buy seeds outdoors in the month of September, you can scatter your wildflower seeds, and then if you have any bluebonnet seeds, you want to scarify those, which means you want to rough up the outer coating. You can snip the very edge with fingernail clippers. You can scratch them up on sandpaper. There's a lot of different methods to scarify them. Go ahead and scatter those as well. You can direct sow bush beans, cucumbers, parsnips, and peas. You can also direct sow leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, kale, and chard. You can go ahead and get some root vegetables in the ground by seed right now: radishes, beets, carrots, turnips, and rutabagas. And then if you have any cold hardy annual flowers like pansies, violas, and poppies, those can also be direct sown. Now, for the violas and pansies, they do need darkness to germinate, so I actually suggest starting those indoors so you have a little bit more control over the light situation there. But the poppies, you can go ahead and scatter those seeds outside. Now, if you're wanting to start seeds indoors and transplant them out later, some of the seeds that you can do that with this month include leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and bok choy, cold hardy annual flowers like those violas and pansies, snapdragons, calendula, alyssum, stuff like that. And then you can also start kohlrabi indoors to be transplanted out in October. Now, if you have already started some seeds in August, or you bought some seed starts from your local nursery, you can start transplanting those this month. And those plants include brassicas like broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower, leafy greens like lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, collards, and mustard greens. Now on the lettuce, I personally feel like it's a better idea to wait until closer to the end of the month before you transplant that, because it still can be quite warm at the beginning of September. If you have any perennial flowers like echinacea or gaillardia, it is a good idea to go ahead and transplant those out this month. And then fall annual flowers like marigolds, zinnia, petunias, celosia, coleus, any ornamental peppers, and then mums that you might have for the fall. Go ahead and get those transplanted into their spaces this month so they can get good healthy root systems and bloom all the way through Halloween until that first frost. And September has quite a few maintenance tasks that can be done in the garden, especially now that it is kind of trying to cool down. When seedlings are 4 to 6 inches tall, you'll want to replenish the mulch that is in your garden to a 3-inch depth. Now, mulch can be anything from straw mulch to shredded leaves to wood mulch, whatever you might have, whatever you desire to use. You just want to make sure that you replenish it in time for that winter gardening so that those roots will be protected during the cold snaps. You will also want to adjust your watering and or irrigation as the temps begin to cool down. There's less water evaporation. We might even have more rain falling from the sky itself, as evidenced by this weekend where we had torrential downpours 4 days in a row. You'll also want to integrate 30 minutes per week into your garden schedule to go ahead and manage and remove weeds. In July and August, it's way too hot to try to be out there picking out individual pieces of grass and all of that stuff. So now that it might be more comfortable, it would be a good time to start handling that. Also want to fertilize your vegetables that you planted for fall production. And then if you do value a good grass lawn, go ahead and fertilize your grass with a nitrogen fertilizer. Now, one of the pests that you might start to see pressure from is going to be cabbage moths. You want to prepare for that by getting some sort of netting to put over your brassicas and such. You can also utilize BT, which is a bacteria that is used in organic gardening, so it's not like harmful to humans or anything. But whenever soft-bodied insects like caterpillars ingest it, it sort of kind of dehydrates them from the inside out. Kind of gross, but it's really effective. And then of course you can also utilize companion plants within your growing spaces to kind of deter those guys. Marigolds make an excellent companion plant for a lot of different pests. And then the last couple of maintenance tasks for the month include pruning your trees and deadheading your perennials like your echinacea that might already be established, rose bushes, whatever else that you have out in your growing space that returns year after year that might have some spent flowers on it. But that is your monthly garden task list for the month of September here in North Texas. If you found this video valuable and you want to continue to see monthly checklists for your garden space, please like, subscribe, and comment to this video. Otherwise, until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!